Good morning. Well, we're ready for math now, and just as you're getting set and ready to begin math for today, I am in my Raspberry Pi class and learning a lot about Raspberry Pi so I can bring this information back and work with my students. And it's a pretty exciting time. So here we go. You're in class and I'm in class. Nice. So for today and tomorrow in math, you're going to be going over a comprehensive end of the year benchmark, but we're going to be doing this as a class. You're not working on it on your own without any help or guidance. Right now, to get started, just like we've been doing for the past few days, you're going to take out a sheet of binder paper. We are going to use product and process. You know how to set your paper up for that. Fold it in half so that you have two columns and put product on the left side, process on the right side. Do that now. You should have binder paper on your desk and you should have something to write with. Okay, get those out, fold your paper, put your name at the top, product on the left, process on the right. And while you finish getting your paper ready, we're going to go through what we're learning, why we're learning this, and how we know you've learned it. Well, today and tomorrow, as I said, we're going to be working on an end of the year review. Why are we learning this? Well, we're reviewing major concepts covered over the years so that you can do your own self-analysis to see what you really understand and what you need some more work with. I know that summertime is just days away, and working on math is probably not something that you're thinking about doing, but I would really recommend, particularly if you have the internet at home or a computer or a smartphone, doesn't even have to be the internet, that you are practicing your math skills. You can do that through Prodigy Game, through Math Playground, through any number of ways. It doesn't have to be just math worksheets, but keep practicing your math so that you are retaining all of that information that you learned. Okay, and how are you going to know that you've learned it? Well, you'll be able to explain the process part as you're working on the problems. So let's get started. Marcia typed 512 words in 8 minutes. What is one of the unit rates? There's the words, there's the number of minutes. We want a unit rate. We want to know how many words she can type in 1 minute. So to find unit rate, you're going to divide 8 into 512. You should be writing your division problem on the product side now. And on the process side, you're going to explain why you divide it. You knew how many words in 8 minutes. In order to find the number of words in 1 minute, you divide. So pause the video here for 2 minutes, do your division, and then check back in. Okay, pause here and begin. Okay, so let's check and see how many words per minute we have. Well, 8 goes into 51 6 times. 6 times 8, 48. Subtract and 3. Bring down the 2. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. And you are finished. Also found your answer. 64 minutes. Or I'm sorry, 64 words in 1 minute. Okay, let's take a look at the second one. A set of 6 water glasses is on sale for $33.30. At that rate, And you see that at that rate, we're looking for a unit rate. How much would 25 water glasses cost? Well, we're going to first divide. You can go ahead and put your decimal point in the quotient. And then when you find your unit rate, you're going to be multiplying that by 25. So pause the video here for 3 minutes. You're going to first divide to get your unit rate. When you have your unit rate, you're going to multiply that by 25 to find the cost of 25 water glasses. Okay? 4 minutes, pause here, begin. Okay, so let's find our unit rate. 6 goes into 33 5 times. Multiply back 30, subtract 3, bring down the 3. 6 goes into 33 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. Subtract 3. And if you were thinking, repeating decimal, it's going to keep going. When you bring down your next number, it's a 30, not 33. 6 goes into 30 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. And this is your unit rate. This is how much you're paying per glass. Well, now that you know that's $5.55, you would have multiplied by 25, and you should have received or obtained a product of $138.75. Okay? Remember, your process is explaining what you did. You divided to find your unit rate. You multiplied to find the cost of 25 glasses. Now, a police officer found that only 60% of drivers came to a full stop at a stop sign at a dangerous intersection. Well, that's not really good. If the officer counted 435 drivers, how many came to a full stop? Well, 60%. And how many are referring to the number of drivers that came to the full stop. I'm looking at a percent, and this makes me think of is of. I'm finding a percent of a number. So on your process side, on your product side, you should be setting up your structure. Is of. And I'm going to think about rephrasing what I'm looking for. What number is 60% of 435? So that's going to help me fill in my structure. 60% is 60 over 100. What number is 60% of 435? 435 is my total number. This is what I'm looking for. That number, that 60%. Okay, you know you're going to cross multiply. And then divide. You take it from there. Ready? Go. Let me see. 3 minutes for this. Go. Okay. Now, when you multiply 435 times, let's say we multiply 435 times 6 instead of 60, so that it makes it a little bit easier. You're looking at just multiplying by a single digit, okay? And you get 2610. Well, that's multiplying 435 by 6. I need to write my other 0 here. Okay, so 26,100. Now I'm going to divide by 100. This is what you should have done on your paper when you solve this. Okay, I can remove the zeros. 1 goes into 261 times. Okay, and you've got your answer. Now, your process side is explaining why you solved it the way you did. You were looking for a percent of a number. So you can use the is of procedure to be able to find 60% of 435. Now, let's go to 4. Again, remember, you should be keeping up with the work that you should be doing. And when I say pause the video, that doesn't mean you pause. That means you work and the video stops. And then at the end of that time, you're checking to see if your answer matches what I have here, which is why I'm clearing the board after I'm done explaining. I'm not leaving it up there. This is not so you can then copy. You should be doing this work. So now I have a difference in measurements. I want to know how many inches this envelope is. It's being measured in millimeters, and it gives me the conversion rate. 1 millimeter is 396 ten-thousandths of an inch. That's really small. I want to know about how many inches 229 millimeters equals. So if I know this is the amount of 1 inch, I'm going to multiply this by 229 millimeters to find the approximate, because it says about. All of your answers here say about. Find the approximate number of inches in 229 millimeters. Okay, remember you are dealing with a decimal, so remember to count how many numbers after the decimal point. Pause the video here for 2 minutes and check back in and see how you did. Okay, so now after you multiplied, you should have received a final product that looks like this. Okay, if you've done all your multiplication correctly, you should have a number that looked like this. 4 numbers after the decimal point, you move 4 numbers to the left, and about, this is a little bit over, so it's about 9 inches. Okay, good. Now, find the volume of the rectangular prism. Well, volume equals length times width times height. And I have 2 1/2 times 3 times 1 1/4. You first need to change your mixed numbers to improper fractions. I'm going to change this 3 to a fraction by putting it over 1. This is the number here. It actually looked like a letter. That looks like an A now. There, that's a little bit better. Times, you should have this written on your product side, and you're looking for the volume of that prism. So pause the video here, take 2 minutes. Remember, when you get your answer, it's probably going to be an improper fraction. You need to convert it back to a mixed number. So 2 minutes, multiply, find your answer, go. Okay, so now I'm going to do some mental math. 5 times 5 is 25. And I'm going to think about money. If I have 3/4, how much money do I have? Well, if I have 3/4, I have 75 cents. That was easy. And 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 1 is 8. Well, I have an improper fraction, so I'm going to divide. And 8 goes into 75 9 times. I subtract, I've got a remainder of 3. There's nothing left to bring down, so I'm going to write my remainder as a fraction. 9 3/8. And right there, 9 3/8 centimeters cubed. 3 dimensions, cubic units. And your process side should explain how you got your answer. You're finding volume, you multiply your 3 dimensions together. Your explanation should include changing a mixed number back to an improper fraction and multiplying and converting back to a mixed number. Now, number 6. On a box plot, we're talking about a box and whisker plot. We did this in Peaks, where we collected data and we created a box and whisker plot to represent the information. Okay? On the product side of your paper, I want you to draw what I just did here. This is actually a number line. Kind of hard to tell because my line is not straight. A number line, and then draw your box and whisker plot. Okay? And then we're going to label. Remember your 5-number summary. We're going to label these parts. Minimum, maximum. Okay? And this is going to be quartile 1 or Q1. This is Q2. And this is Q3. Okay, and what do the left and right sides of the box represent? Well, this is the left side, this is the right side. And the left side represents Q1, the right side represents Q3. So on your product side, you should have this drawing or this diagram of a box and whisker plot. And on your process side, this is your 5-number summary. And I want you to explain what these terms, Q1, Q2, Q2 is also known as your median of the whole set. And max. Okay, so explain your 5-number summary. And you can include the left side is Q1, the right side is Q3. Now, we're looking for surface area. If I'm looking for area, I'm only using 2 dimensions, length times width or base times height. Can be described either way. And you need to find the area of this triangle, this square, this rectangle, and this rectangle to find the surface area of all of that. Well, this is 10 by 10. If this is 10 centimeters, so is this. And so is this. So you can find the area of these shapes and area of a triangle. Area equals base times height divided by 2. Well, there's your base, there's your height. There's your base, there's your height. Okay? If this is 6 centimeters, this is 6 centimeters. If this is 8 centimeters, this is 8 centimeters. So to find your surface area of all of these shapes, you're going to need to find the area of each individual shape and then add them back together again. Remember, area of a triangle, base times height divided by 2. And you have 2 triangles. So on your product side, I want you to write your formula for area of a triangle and area of a rectangle. And then on the product side, I want you to find the area for each individual shape. The 2 triangles, the square, and the 2 rectangles. Then you're going to add up your area amounts for each individual shape, and that's going to end up being your total surface area. So take 4 minutes, pause the video here, find the surface area of each individual shape, and then add them up to find your surface area of the triangular prism. Okay? Pause the video here and begin. Okay, well, I'm going to start with this. 10 times 10 is 100. So I know that's the surface, that's the area for this square. Then I have 8 times 10, well, that's 80. 6 times 10, that's 60. And I have 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. And this is going to be the same thing. 6 times 8 is 48, divided by 2 is 24. When you add up all of your amounts, you should have gotten 288 centimeters squared. And your process would have explained what you did. I first found the area of the square, and then the 2 triangles, and then the 2 rectangles, and I added everything up. So that should be your process. Okay, give you a moment to catch up if you're still in the finishing up writing something, and then get ready for the next one. Remember, all of your work, product and process, needs to be on your paper. And this one, I'm not going to have you write anything for it. I'm not going to have you draw the grid, but follow along with what I'm doing because I need to plot these points, and then I want to be able to identify the shape formed by these 3 points. So first, I need to plot 1, 4. X is 1, Y is 4. So there's my plotted point for that. And then X is 1, Y is -5. And X is -4, Y is -5. I'm going to connect these points. And I have 3 points, so I know I'm going to have a triangular shape. And the question is, what shape is formed? Well, can't be an equilateral triangle that says all sides are the same length. A right isosceles? No, because 2 sides would be the same. An acute isosceles? No, because my lengths for the 3 sides are not the same. It's a right scalene triangle. Remember, you did not have to write anything for that. However, number 9, you are going to need to do this. They're giving you an expression they want you to evaluate and identify which step contains the first error. Well, the only way you're going to know which step contains the first error is if you work it out yourself. So I'm going to write this here. You're going to take out the M. You're going to put in a 6. Raise that to the 2nd power times (6) plus 5. And I'm going to remind you of GEMS. Groupings, exponents, multiplication, division, left to right, subtraction, addition, left to right. On the product side, use order of operations to simplify this, and then use your process to identify where the mistake happened here. Where did the first mistake happen? Take 3 minutes, order of operations, work this out, and identify which step is incorrect. Ready? Go. Okay, so I have 4 times 6 divided by 2 is 3. That exponent is going with what I simplified in these parentheses. I'm going to bring everything else down. Okay, now 4 times 3 to the 2nd power. I need to do exponents. 3 to the 2nd power is 9. So I have 4 times 9 times 6 plus 5. So I have multiplication, multiplication, addition. Left to right, 4 times 9 is 36. 36 times 6, it's 216 plus 5 would be 321. Well, now, looking at where there is a mistake here, and I'm looking at this part right here. 6 divided by 4, and you got 1.5, and then 4 times that. That's where your mistake began. Okay? So your product side, you should show the order of operations. Your process side is explaining what you did and how you found the mistake. Okay, so again, I'm going to take a moment here so you can finish explaining if you have not done so. And then we're going to move on to 10. Okay, so let's take a look at 10. Choose all the expressions that are equivalent to 28 times n plus 56. And I have 4 expressions here. I'm looking at 28 and 56. And I'm thinking they must have a common factor, because this looks like the result of the distributive property. So on your paper, on the product side, I want you to write 28 times n plus 56. And think about a factor that you could pull out and then rewrite it as multiplication and addition, or multiplication over addition, which would be the distributive, what you recognize as the distributive property, and then see which of these here you think would be correct. Take 3 minutes, product and process, and then check back in and we'll see how you did. Okay, so I'm looking at 28 and 56, and I'm thinking I can pull out a factor of 7. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 8 is 56. And that's this one right here. Are there any others that are equivalent to this? Well, 7 times n is 7n. 7 times 4 is 28. That's not 7n plus 28. It's 28n plus 56, so that can't be it. 8 times 20 is 160n. Yeah, that's not even close. So that's not working. What about this one? 2 times 14? 2 times 14 is 28. That would be 28n. 2 times 28 is 56. So yeah, that one works too. Okay, so your product side, you should have shown what you pulled out as a factor and what it looked like. And on your process side, why you did that, how you knew that 7 was going to be a factor. And this next one, I believe, will be the last one that we have time for today. And tomorrow we'll start with number 12. So I've got this really, what looks like a complicated situation with an inequality. I have 16 minus 4 times 2 to the second power is less than 4 times some number minus 4. And I've got 4 choices. Any number less than 1, any number greater than 1, any number except 1, or none of these. Well, in order to know what this would be, I need to simplify this side here. So I want you to write down this inequality, simplify this side, and see if you can determine which one of these would be correct. Take 3 minutes, simplify this, and then see what you can plug in on this side to determine if this is true or not. Ready? Go. Okay, so let's start by simplifying this. I have subtraction, multiplication, and an exponent. That's order of operations. So I'm going to bring down the 16. I'm going to bring down the subtraction. I'm going to bring down the 4 times 2 to the second power is 4. And I'm going to bring the rest of my inequality down. 4 times x minus 4. Well, I can still simplify more on this side. 16 minus 4. No, I can't do that. I need to do multiplication. 16 minus 16 is less than 4 times a number minus 4. Well, 16 subtract 16, that's 0. 0 is less than 4 times a number minus 4. Well, this is saying any number less than 1. Well, if it's a number less than 1, it's going to be a fractional amount. So I'm thinking if it's a fractional amount, that is not going to make this a true inequality. If I have any number greater than 1, well, I'm going to try a number greater than 1. Let's say this side is 4 times 2. 2 is greater than 1, minus 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 4 is 4. 0 is less than 4. That's a true statement. What if I have 4 times 3 minus 4? Well, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. And 0 is less than 8. That's a true statement. Any number except 0. Well, any number except 0, I could have negative numbers. And negative numbers are not going to be greater than 0. So it can't be this one. None of these. Well, I just showed that this one would be true. And this one, we said we would end up with fractional amounts or decimals, and that would make that not a true statement. So there is our answer for this one here by simplifying and then plugging in numbers to see what would work. Make sure your name is at the top of your paper. You're going to turn your papers in. If you do not turn it in, you have 0 out of 10 points. And if you have not shown all of your work, you're going to lose points accordingly. So please make sure you are showing all of your work. Okay, turn your papers in. And if there's still a little bit of time, read silently or sit quietly until the end of the period. And I will see you on Thursday.